Hello, everyone. Welcome to Development Palates. I'm Aaron Loomis, coming to you from the Ventura Cigar Company studios, and with me today is Jiunn Liu and John McTavish. How you guys doing?
I don't want to be at work.
Happy to be at home, but wish the warm weather would last forever, and it ain't gonna.
Yeah. So today we are talking about the Ventura Father Friends and Fire 2018 limited edition. Cigar is a Toro 6x50. Comes out of the Agro-Industrial Nicaraguans, a Tobaccos factory in Nicaragua. Easy for me to say. Wrappers Ecuadorian Habano, binders from Nicaragua, and the fillers from Nicaragua and Peru. It is blended by Omar Ortez and Indiana Ortez. No price point on this because this is an event-only cigar, and the cigar was released in June of 2018. So with all that out of the way, June, what was your smoking experience like?
Um, First couple of thirds, I got a really well balanced flavor profile. I got a lot of creamy bread notes, nuts, cedar, minerals, just the right amount of white pepper that did a good job of kind of encapsulating all those flavors, but not enough to like just throw off the balance. So it was very balanced, in other words. When I retrohaled the cigar, I got this nice underripe stone fruit character. Got more of a spicier, kind of a raw cedar character. Finish, it was really long, lingering with a lot of cedar and bread. Strength and body within the entire cigar actually was just medium. Um, and then moving on to the last third, I felt like the spice level started to increase a little bit. So I got more white pepper and cedar out of that. Other than that, I mean, all the other notes of the like that creamy breadiness, nuts, minerals, it was still the same. So in terms of construction, it was really good. So I rated the burn to be very good. One shy of our perfect score. Only letdown was an uneven burn, and that resulted in just a one minor touch up to it. But really good ash retention. The burn was really cool. Good production of smoke, and I rated the draw to be perfect.
How about you, John? What was your smoking experience like?
Yeah, so this definitely takes the cake, I think, in the industry as the cigar with the longest title and the longest factor name for sure. But I mean, this had. I mean, I was going down a checkbox of flavors, and this might be, the most number of checkboxes for any cigar I've smoked in recent history. So there was an underlying sweetness, there was cocoa, there's light spices, some delayed leather, woody notes on the retrohale, that pepper that June was talking about that kind of really acts as a cement to bring all those flavors together. Great woodiness on the retro, and then the pepper kind of rises up as the cigar progresses, but it brings that cocoa with it, so you're not just getting a pepper bomb, which is really nice. Then it kind of falls off and settles into this great profile for the bottom half of the first third with creamy wood, cocoa, baking spices. I mean, just checking every single box. And that kind of carries into the second third where it settles into sweet cedar, cocoa, baking spices. It does get a little bit of mild toasted earth, which is good. And then a little bit of nicotine strength hitting in the second third, but, nothing full bodied. I'd say medium plus. And then in the last third, it kind of dials back for me in complexity. So a little bit of vegetable note and a little bit of toasted earth, but all those sort of complex flavors really didn't carry into the last third for me, which was a little disappointing. In terms of burn and construction, I also marked it second from best on our scoring sheet. So very good. It did have a little bit of a wavy burn in the first third, but the ash is holding on well for 1+ inch increments, which you can't really ask for more than that. I did need to do a minor touch up in the middle third, but other than that, marked it second from best on the score, and the draw was absolutely perfect. Just a slight resistance on the burn, which is exactly where I want it. How was your experience, Aaron?
Yeah, for me, the cigar started with a smooth delivery of light cedar and some mild baking spice. A little further in, a little bit of cream joins the profile, kind of enhances the smoothness of it. A little further in, cream kind of fades back, profile becomes a little bit drying. As the first third's wrapping up, cedar becomes a little bit fuller, baking spice kind of slightly behind it. Strength is at the mild medium mark. Second third, still slightly drying. A little bit of cream returns to the profile. Baking spice is really faint. Cedar starts to gain a slight bite to it. Retrohale is kind of a full and dry cedar there. A little further in, the cedar gains some char. Cream and baking spice kind of both leave the profile. And as this third's wrapping up, The charred cedar is kind of becoming a little harsh and bitter for me. Strength bumps up slightly below medium. Final third, some of the creamery joins the profile, kind of cuts down on some of that char and the bitterness. Red Trail's kind of moved over to a smoky oak note. A little further in, cedar transitions to more of like a general wood note. Still has a little bit of char with it. Still a little bit of creaminess kind of continuing on in the background. And as the cigar wraps up, a little kind of baking spice joined in with that charred wood and slight cream. Strength bumps up to medium. In regards to the construction, I thought the burn was very good, a little bit wavy at different times, but never needed any attention. Ash held on 1-inch increments. In regards to the draw, just a little bit tighter than I prefer, but didn't cause any issues with the smoking experience. So overall, Jiunn, what was your experience with this cigar?
I like the cigar. You know, all those times, and I did this a lot of times, where I bitched about like how Ventura needs to come out with a good cigar. I think this is it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's one of those cigars where a lot of good flavor on the milder side in terms of strength. And I thought it was, and really what I'm trying to say is I thought it was really well balanced. You know, these are very easygoing notes. You know, it's one the nuance side of things. So, you know, I think more people appreciate it than not, since it's kind of that kind of a profile. It's kind of a bummer you can't buy this. They're only going to release it at their events, but perhaps they could change that down the road.
How about you, John? What are your overall thoughts?
I'm going to echo a lot of what Jiunn said, because you know, this is a really great release from Ventura, and I have to say, for an event cigar, you know, we've certainly smoked our fair share of event cigars, and sometimes they're good and sometimes they're not, and this is definitely showcasing some of the best of what Ventura offers. So I think, you know, if you're attending a Ventura event and you've looked up this cigar, this cigar, if you're on the cusp of attending that event, this cigar will definitely make you attend that event. This is a cigar I would love to pick up again and try again. And like Jiunn was saying, I think one of the really nice things about this is it is balanced in the flavors. I mean, so often you can just dial all the way to 9, and yeah, it's really flavorful, but sometimes that's too intense for a lot of people. So this does a great job of keeping complexity, but maintaining a really nice medium body level throughout the entire smoking experience, so it doesn't blow you away. I really enjoyed it. I would love to get my hands on some more of these. What about you, Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, I like the first third. I mean, it had a nice mellow mixture of that cedar and the baking spice, a little bit of cream in there. But then after that, some of the char kind of came in and took the balance away from the cigar, and it wasn't really as enjoyable for me. So maybe I got the dud of the group, and you guys had the better experiences. But I mean, I can understand what the idea of this cigar was, and based on the concept, you know, if you're trying to set it up for like a father and son or a father and daughter kind of smoking experience together, you're not looking for a powerhouse cigar that, you know, maybe, you know, one of the two or both of them aren't regular cigar smokers, so they're not going to, you know, want something like that. They want something that's kind of mellow, that can do some good flavor delivery without kind of like bashing you over the head. So I got that from that first third, and if that would have lasted the whole way, I would have had a much better experience. But I think, you know, with you guys having that kind of that flavorful experience all the way through and not kind of getting it out of balance, then I think it perfectly hits the mark for kind of what the project was supposed to be. So, you know, like we were talking about, you can't buy them, but if you have a chance to go to one of the events, I think it's definitely worthwhile to pick one up and see what you think. And then if you have the chance to get more of them, you know, smoke it while you're there to find out if you like it. And if you do, then maybe it's time to move on and get some more of those. But getting the scores, we'll start at the top with Jiunn, 7.07. John was next at 6.72, and I was third with 5.85. So, Jiunn, how do you think that matched up with your experience?
It was good. I said overall, all the flavor profile was good. Pretty good construction, almost perfect construction. So really good construction. So that, you know, every time something like that happens, it's going to be right into that 707, 717 to do the tiebreaker at the end of the year for me.
Yep. How about you, John?
Yeah, I think if that last third had carried through the complexity of the first and second third, I think this is a no-brainer 7 score. And you know, to me, when you get into the 7s, this is a cigar that should be on your, you know, quote-unquote buy list. Mm-hmm. So like I said, if I was in the States and I was near Ventura events, this is a cigar that I would be on my radar. And if there's a Ventura event, I would be attending that event to weasel my way some of these bad boys. What about you?
Yeah, my matches up well. I mean, I had a good first third, and then after that, I kind of just fell off with the char. But the construction is really good. So I think I got a bad one. And you know, if I smoked it again, I had this kind of that flavor profile that I had in the first third that kind of carried through. I'd be all up for this cigar. And you know, like you guys have said, this is definitely a kind of an upper echelon cigar for what Ventura has produced in the past. So it's good to see that, and maybe this kind of leads to them working with the Ortezes a little bit more to be able to blend some cigars with them and see what kind of path that takes them on. But yeah, any other final thoughts from you guys on this?
Speaking of weaselly, I remember when we were at the trade show and Skip Martin, the Romacraft, was all like, he looked at me. I rarely talk to Skip. I talked to him at the trade show, basically. Mm-hmm. So he's all like, "Oh, you probably like that Ventura Friends and Father Friends and Fam. What was it called?
Father Friends and Fire.
Father Friends and Fire.
Yeah.
Father Friends and Fire.
2018 limited edition.
Yeah. Yeah, he's all like, "Yeah, you probably like it because there's not a lot of Mambaco in there."
Yeah, and then like, and then Indiana walked by right when we were talking to him.
Yeah, right? I was like, "Well, Skip, you're right. This was a pretty damn good cigar." So,
yep,
and it has plenty of Mambaco in there. Yeah. You fuck. No.
Yeah, I'd love to see more releases like this from Ventura. This is the kind of release that will get Ventura on a lot of lists at the end of the year. And I know, obviously, some outlets aren't going to cover it because it's an event-only cigar, and they only cover cigars that are available for sale, and totally respect that. So my call out to Ventura is this is a great roadmap. This is a great blueprint for a great cigar. So make more cigars like this, and you'll make all of us very happy campers, except for Loomis, because he hates cigars.
That's right, exactly. I just support them on with the site and everything. So, all right, if you're just catching this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us, but also check out the full written review on the website developingpalates.com. Be sure to follow us on all the social media channels, and you can catch all of our review recaps on podcasts, iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Father, Friends, and Fire!